G'day all and welcome to the Wednesday announcements because in a rarity, the Dockers are playing on a Thursday night. Exactly what we deserve after that fantastic showing last Friday. We've had back-to-back Friday night games. Now we've got another prime time. Let's actually try and get another win on prime time like we did against Adelaide. And let's not embarrass ourselves like we did last week. I hope we're all well. There's already been a bit of discussion about the team in chat. We'll speak about that right now, the team. Get all your comments in. We will be reading all of them. Now, I'm going to get them up on screen because they're interesting. And funnily enough, I think we mentioned this on the pod. Look, I think I did pick that Draper would go out for either Simpson or Simpson or Aish. It's happened in the end. So Simpson has come in for Draper. I'll get that up right now. Where is it? Let's see if that works. There we go. Okay, can I zoom in? I wonder can everyone see better like that? That might be the way. Yeah, actually everyone can. That works way better. All right, so here they are. So we have the three changes. So Josh Draper has been omitted. Hayden Young is out injured, and Quinton Narkle has also been omitted. Chappie plays his 50th game. Coming in, Paddy Voss, Neil Erasmus, Cooper Simpson. So I think we all probably could have seen the Draper Young, Erasmus Simpson changes happening. I think Simpson's a like-for-like change for Draper because we've just chosen to go a bit smaller in the back line, as well as the fact that Corey Wagner may be playing bulk midfield. With the tag on probably Nick Dacos. Now, the change we weren't expecting is, look, Quinton Narkle being dropped. I'm not opposed to it. But Patrick Voss, this is interesting, right? So we have brought in an extra tall. So this stems the conversation. So we've had a few team streams where, the changes are expected. We're just basically taking the piss for half an hour, just discussing anything but the football. This is interesting. So Paddy Voss is into the team. Now, does this mean Luke Jackson plays some midfield? Not ruck, midfield. So he'll play ruck, obviously, but he was playing as an on-baller for quite a bit in that fourth quarter last week. I think we gave up with that entire game to the point where we had Josh Draper in the ruck, we had Luke Jackson in the midfield. We were taking the piss. So with Vossi coming in, does that mean that we're going Jackson to play a bit more midfield? Or are we saying we're going with the four tools? We need an extra forward rotation. And does JL just maybe feel that Sean Darcy isn't good enough to rest forward? And then when Jackson's in the ruck, Jackson's probably playing 45, 50% ruck at the moment. Voss brings us the extra forward rotation. Very interesting. I'm sorry if I'm a bit glitchy on the face cam, by the way. I've noticed when I watch back the streams, it's a little bit laggy. My face cam. What I can see right now is really high quality, but just let me know if it is. So this is the team. So Ryan, Pierce, Cox, Wagner, Warner, Clark. So it's a smaller back line and a taller forward line is what I've gained. So Jeremy Sharp, Matt Johnson, Michael Frederick named on the wing. Shea Bolton, Sam Swikowski. Isaiah Dudley is named on the field, meaning he won't be the sub. With Luke Jackson, Josh Tracy, Jay Amos, Sean Darcy, Caleb Sarong, Andy Brayshaw. The bench is Pat Voss, Murphy Reed, Heath Chapman, Neil Erasmus, and Cooper Simpson. We'll move to Collingwood quickly because their changes are equally as interesting. So we've known their outs since yesterday. But I tell you what, they help us a fair bit. So Brandon Maynard has been managed. Jordan DeGoey has been managed. Myercheck is out injured. And Pendlebury's also been managed. Coming in is Jeremy Howe, Edward Allen, Lachlan Sullivan, and Oleg Markov. So that's their team right there. So basically, this isn't down to the fact that we just got pumped and they think that we're a walkover. I read Craig McRae, what he was saying earlier in the week, and apparently they had this plan since before the season. A 5-day break, playing in Perth. They always knew that about at this point they'd be resting a few key older guys. So this is the makeup they've gone with. It is still an incredibly strong team. There is zero reason to underestimate this Pies side. So Howe, Moore, Houston, Perryman, Frampton, Quainer, Crisp, Sidebottom, Lipinski, Hill, Membry, Schultz, McCreery, Cox, Elliott, Cameron, Nick Dacos, Ned Long, then Josh Dacos, Ed Allen, Hoskin Elliott, Sullivan, and Markov. I thought Hoskin Elliott was getting managed. I might have misread something. But yeah, they're the changes that we have. Yeah, super interesting one. So my first instincts in the sub discussion, I think Neil Erasmus will probably cop the vest because you won't vest Heath Chapman. You do your vest Murphy Reed. That's another option. So the fact we've brought in Pat Voss doesn't mean that a Murphy Reed gets a vest. I'm not sure. So Cooper Simpson is a backman. So we drafted him as a forward. He's played AFL games as a forward for us, but he is a backman as he's been playing at Peel. So Simpson's coming for Draper. He won't be in the vest, I don't think. Murphy's a candidate, but probably won't be. Vossi won't be. Chappie won't be. So it leaves Neil Erasmus. He has to be, really. In terms of the midfield makeup, so we've obviously got no O'Meara, no Young. So Sarong, Brayshaw, Johnson are the main three. Bolton will obviously get minutes in there. Corey Wagner's midfield minutes will continue to go up. So a club record last week, 16 tackles for Corey Wagner. I'm not sure who else we're going to put in there. Maybe a Luke Jackson will get some minutes in the middle. But it's going to be a very, very interesting watch. You look at Collingwood's midfield makeup. So they've got Dacos, Ned Long, Steel side bottom, and then Jack Crisp, Lipinski, Perryman, and then you'd probably, they're the guys that will get minutes, really. So Dacos will probably cop a tag from Corey Wagner. Like, you actually cannot play an AFL game against Collingwood and not tag Nick Dacos. I don't care if you're a club that doesn't traditionally tag. You literally have to put attention into this guy. This is a game where we would be crying out for Ryan Crowley. Like, the job he would do on Nick Dacos, he would just niggle him all game. I remember the game a couple years ago, maybe it was last year, but it was Finn McGuinness who put the absolute clamps on Nick Dacos, and he got pissed. Like, he was under his skin. So if you can get under this guy's skin, which is an incredibly hard thing to do because the guy's just a gun footballer, then that's the way we sort of win that midfield battle, is stopping him. That being said, we can't underestimate these other two main guys. So Ned Long is having a fantastic season. I'll quickly give you a quicker rundown on how he's been playing. So he'll also get increased responsibility given that they are managing the DeGoes and the Pendleburys. So Ned Long this season, last week, 18 touches, 9 tackles against Geelong. Against Essendon, 22 touches, 4 tackles. Against Brisbane, 21 touches, 6 tackles. Against Sydney, he had 29 touches, 6 tackles. He was sub against Carlton. And then earlier in the season, he had 24 touches and 7 tackles against Port Adelaide. Ned Long is a really good footballer. I'm not sure how many of you have been watching Collingwood this season, but the guy's an absolute jet. And then the other guy, Steel side bottom, is probably up there as favourite alongside Dacos as Collingwood BF this season. The guy has revitalised himself. Steel side bottom's having a career best year, believe it or not, at the age of 36 or whatever. And yeah, he's playing super good footy. So we're going to have to be real aware of that midfield mix. Darcy Cameron, at the moment, is certainly a better ruckman than Sean Darcy. So yeah, look, I'm sure Sean Darcy will build. And I'm sure Jackson will get increased minutes because he probably suits a Darcy Cameron type matchup. I'm not sure the height of Darcy Cameron. Is he 200? He is. He's 204. I think Jackson's 203, if I'm not mistaken. He's 199. There you go. Okay, so Darcy's the one that we really need to step up. I'm sure Jackson will get increased responsibility, but Darcy Cameron is no walkover. In terms of their forward line, so this is a little bit weaker, but they somehow just make it work. So they've got those live wires in Bobby Hill, McCreery, Lockie Schultz, Jamie Elliott, right? Hoskin Elliott's a nice rotation who can play a bit smaller and a bit taller, that medium-sized guy. So Mason Cox is the guy that will be mainly filling the void of Brody Mychek, increased responsibility. So Mason Cox is a guy I think we can really get a hold of. I don't really see him as a massive threat, but, we can't just let him be. And Tim Membry, I see, is a guy who's been fitting into the Collingwood system really nicely this year. So it'll be interesting to see how we take a hold of Membry. So I'm going to assume Pearce probably takes Membry, despite the size mismatch. I see Membry as their main tall forward threat. And I think Cox can probably take Cox, funnily enough. That might be a size thing, meaning Pierce goes to Cox and Cox goes to Memory. But yeah, I'm not sure about what we'll do with the tall situation. I think we might have a bit of a rotation going because our backs were an absolute mess last week. I mean, our backs were probably the least of our concerns last week, but they were still a mess nevertheless. I'll get to chat in a second, by the way. I'm just discussing what's sort of coming to my mind. We'll look at our forward line and their backs. So Darcy Moore will nearly certainly take Josh Tracy. Billy Frampton will probably take probably a mix of Jackson and Voss because who takes... I think Perryman might take Amos. I see that as the main sort of matchup. Jeremy Howe could play a bit taller. We've seen him do it before, so that's not out the realms of possibility. But that's, again, a really interesting one because Frampton, Perryman, Howe, Moore, even Houston can all play quite tall back there. And we've got a lot of tools in the forward line. So Jackson, Tracy, Amos, Voss. So they'll probably feel like they have us covered. We're really just going to have to work hard to try and stretch that because that'll be a really tight-knit sort of tall back group that we're going to have to work through. You know, Darcy Cameron will rest forward when Mason Cox heads into the ruck. So it's going to be an interesting one. Let's take a look at chat here for a bit. There's been a lot. So keep getting your chats in. I will make my way through them. Rest in peace, Will Brodie. He deserves a trade to a club who actually use it. Lads, Will Brodie is not that good a footballer. We were speaking, I would have been sad to see him in the team this week because he is a clearance beast. But if you look at this Collingwood midfield, right, they are full of two-way runners. So Nick Dacos, or not just their midfield, their team. Nick Dacos, two-way runner. Josh Dacos, two-way runner. Bo McCreary, when he pushes up, two-way runner. Lockie Schultz, crucial in the Collingwood link-up from the wing to the forward line. Two-way runner. Same goes for Lipinski, same goes for Chris. So Will Brodie would have been burnt this week. We just cannot be playing him in a game like this. So I'm not too sad that he's not in the team, to be honest. I'm not sure if he'll ever get a chance for us again, but yeah, I guess that's to come. How on earth does this Erasmus guy keep getting games in front of Brodie? We've got to give up Brodie. Come on. G'day, Liam. No Draper, who's going to ruck in the last quarter. Yeah, Voss. Exactly. In Vossimo Erasmus, glad Drapes was dropped. Don't think he's been working hard enough. Oh, that isn't the criticism I give to Drapes. I think Drape has been working hard. I wouldn't say any of these players haven't been working hard. I just think Drapes I think he got schooled a bit last week. He got schooled a little bit, and that's just... Joshua Draper, right, it should barely be a part of our best 22. So I think he is a part of our best 22 when he's playing his best footy. But he is 21 years of age. He sort of made a shock entrance into our team last year and has sort of just been here ever since. We were sort of just cramming him in alongside Cox and Pierce. So I don't think Draper going to the waffle was a bad thing whatsoever. He just needs to, sort of refine bits of his defensive craft, and I think he'll be all good. Are we too tall if Voss comes in? So this is the discussion. So this probably means that a Luke Jackson or... I'm not sure what it means. I'm just trying to get the right thing up here. You can't see that. Hold up. Full screen layout. Okay, yeah, we can just work like this. So I think this probably means that Luke Jackson will play a bit of midfield time if Pat Voss comes in. That is sort of my thinking. But maybe it's just bringing an extra forward rotation for when Jackson goes in the ruck and, we do become a bit smaller down forward. Or also maybe JL just doesn't trust Darcy in terms of him resting forward. I mean, Darcy, this is 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This is his 5th game back. He hasn't really shown anything when he's been resting forward. So yeah, I think JL may just be wanting to bring an extra proper forward in there. And Vossi was in good form apart from his kicking when he was in the team. His last game was that Richmond game and he brings a live wire. He kicked that great goal. He just brings something really different. So yeah, I love Vossi in the team. Coops, Voss, and Raz are huge ins. Feel like Draper getting dropped in away for Simpson. Yeah, that's what it is. Simpson is the in for Draper, and I really like that from JL. He sort of noticed that our forward line is just way too tall, and he spotted it, and he's made the call. Dropping Draper. We need Voss for the strength. At least he fights with the ball and attacks. The other forwards have been too quiet. Yeah, agreed. I think Vossi really is just that live wire. Come on, let's not start calling for jail. How's it over for Longmeal? We've just announced the teams. What is this? Look, You should probably change your name as well, bud, because it is no longer 2024. Voss will be sub and replace Darcy in the third or fourth. Interesting. Haven't even looked at it from it. Yeah, I could maybe see that happening. I really could. Let me try to find the right layout to show here. Not that. Not that either. All right, we can just show that. Yeah, could do that because maybe we are just going in too tall with Voss. I know I don't see Vossi. I see it. I just don't think it will happen. Brody's a better player than Erasmus and Johnson. That's why Longmuir doesn't play him. Okay. I don't think Brody is a better player than Erasmus or Johnson. I really don't. Will Brody is so one-dimensional. In the waffle, he racks up possessions because he's playing against midfields, which he can destroy at waffle level because he's an accumulator and he can just get the ball and go forward. His defensive abilities would probably have played a part in why Peel Thunder have had a few disappointing results at the start of this season. So, look, I think if you actually watch the Peel games, Brody's accumulating, but on the defensive end, and I think even when you watch him at Freo in 2022 and stages in 2023, his defensive work is a lot of the time the reason why our midfield gets smashed. I really don't think Will Brody was the fix this week. And I think Raz will be sub this week anyway. We'll have Corey Wagner rolling through there. We'll have Shea Bolton rolling through there. So, Voss, Amos, Tracy, Darcy, Jackson, Darcy all in the same team. We've never seen this before, I don't reckon. It's a really tall team. But hey, I'm here for it. We've gone smaller in the back line, taller in the forward line. Bit of experimentation. I'm okay with it. I swear all the idiots keep banging on about how good Brody is, don't actually watch Peel games. Yeah, that's the thing. And look, not everyone has time to watch Peel games. But yeah, Brody a lot of the time just... He's not necessarily tearing up the waffle. On the stat sheet, he's tearing up the waffle, but he's not tearing up the waffle in an in-game sense to the point where it's inexcusable that he's not in the AFL side. Exactly, also. Brody is recovering from an injury. And I do think Jackson will play mid midfield. That's good to know. Yeah, sorry, I'm still catching up on chat, by the way. I'm about 14 minutes behind. But just keep your stuff coming in. You're a Draper lover for life and always a back to him, but you just can't afford to have semi-average. Yeah, exactly right. Drapes has to go to the waffle. I'm a Draper lover too. If you remember my our best 22 video at the start of the year, I had Draper in the team in our best 22. So yeah, I love Josh Draper. But yeah, he just needs to refine a few things at waffle level. He was really subpar against the Saints on Friday. So yeah, I think it's fine. Yeah, I'm expecting Raz to be sub. Jackson on the wing, but actually plays as a ruck, and Darcy goes back to help with defense, maybe. Like what Geelong do. I'd love for that to be the case, but Sean Darcy and Sam DeConey are respectfully very, very different players in terms of their physical attributes. If Sean Darcy is floating across our D50, sort of just picking off spare marks like Sam DeConey is, that would be baffling to me. Darcy just simply does not have the athletic prowess to be doing shit like that. So yeah, that won't happen. But I like your thought process. Sub either Omac, Narkle, or Drapes. Omac's not in the team, brother. Or Simo. Yeah, Omac and Narkle both aren't in the team. Freo statement winners. And it's a Pisces. Is that a word? Is my vocabulary just shit? It's a piece of the season big time. We just have to make sure we don't get carried away. Exactly. We've just got to... JL's very big on this. Despite me not being very big on JL. JL's big on we don't get too high after the wins and don't get too low after the losses. And I love that sort of mindset. Make Simpson the tagger. Maybe that's it. That's actually a good call. Simpson might be the tagger. It'll be either him or Wagner that tags Dacos. Simple as that. Yeah. Umpires have written in black and white. Yeah, fuck, it's over. Who are the umps? Justin Power, Simon Meredith, Craig Fleer, and Martin Roger. Simon Meredith, well known. In terms of VC, do you vice N Dacos or Snee? I'm VCing Dacos. But to be fair, maybe Brayshaw is a better shout because Brayshaw won't get tagged. Collingwood don't really tag. So maybe that's the way. But also, Dacos is untaggable. So, Narkle out's bullshit. Narkle hasn't really forced his name to be on that team sheet. I don't know. Voss for PM. Yeah, good call. Raz is a hard nut, just needs more time with the hands on the ball. Love how he's a dig, though. Yeah, exactly. Raz will never get a run of games in this time at Freo, but if he does, then we'll see what he can really do. I don't think Raz is a bad player. I just don't think his future's at Fremantle. And I don't think Will Brody's future's at Fremantle really either. So I don't really see. It's really a lose-lose situation. Hopefully, Vossi doesn't get overexcited and poke crazy in the eye again. I swear, we will have someone go out due to injury because of a Pat Voss celebration one day. How many behinds will Voss kick? Let's back Vossi in. 0 goals 5. At least we'll see the 29 running on the field. Yeah, so this is the first time that 29 and 16 have run out together for Freo since 2016 in that win against the Bulldogs, Pav's last game. So, hey, maybe that's a bit of good luck. I mean, 2016 wasn't exactly a season full of good luck, but hey, we'll delude ourselves. If Voss kicks more than 2 goals, I reckon he'll self-combust through excitement. I'm not a Will Brody glazer, and I do see his flaw in two-way running, but for an inability and clearance, having someone like him to extract the ball could be good, but Erasmus can have a good run now. Yeah, look, we spoke about on the pod that Will Brody could serve us a need this week in terms of his clearance game, but I think there are more flaws than positives to Will Brody's game translating at AFL level, which is the only reason why I don't think he's in the team. Looks like Jackson's going to play mid-forward or else we two-talk. Yeah, that's probably what's going to happen. If Freo do lose this, not convincingly, but a solid 20 points, the alarm bell's ringing for us. Yeah, the alarm bells are already ringing, mate. Like, after the Saints game, the alarm bells were ringing midway through the third quarter on Friday. Or midway through the first quarter on Friday. Like, the alarm bells are ringing. We have to turn them off tomorrow night. Is roaming Brian a chance here? No. Is BT doing Thursdays? I'm not sure. Is BT doing... I don't think... No, BT is doing Thursdays. So maybe. The thing is, we've got the roaming Brian curse. Whenever we've got a chance at roaming Brian, we fuck it up. So maybe the curse continues. Adam Papali is actually doing the game on Fox tomorrow night, which is interesting. So no Matt Hill or Anthony Hudson. Or, no, it's not Anthony Hudson. It's Matt Hill and someone else. But no Matt Hill. Instead, we get Paps and Pav and Scully, which, look... I love Paps and all, but it will sort of feel like a Sunday Arvo, won't it? Does Jackson have to be the tank? Have the tank to be a fourth mid if Darcy rucks full time? Well, Jackson won't play bulk midfield. He'll play mostly forward and ruck. But I'm sure he'll get, little spurts throughout there. Like Wagner, in a way. He won't get bulk midfield time to be a fourth mid. I think Bolton's midfield time will go up. And I think maybe Switkowski could get another run through there. And I obviously think Wagner's time will go up. So we've got options. And I think Jackson will be an option. But I don't think he'll play full time as our bulk fourth mid. Jono to tag Dacos, Wagner. It's going to be either Wagner or Simpson. I think Wagner. A species isn't a word. Autocorrect for spices. Okay. I thought I was losing it for a second. Narkle hasn't really had a crack. He's a midfielder and been playing him on the bench. Yeah, he's been playing full-time bench, hasn't he? I swear I never see that guy on the field. He's been either sub or just riding the pine. Nothing to do with tomorrow, but I really miss Blake Acres. He was so important to us. Blake Acres' ball usage wasn't all that. That was my one flaw with him. Surprised Cox held his spot. Coxie was great last week. I thought, by great, as well as he can be in a 10-goal loss. Yeah, I thought Draper was certainly the sort of weakest link in that back six last week. So yeah, I think we've made the right changes down there. Did Draper deserve the drop? Yes, he did. How does Amos still hold his spot? We dropped Narkle and he's been the sub both times. Amos is so inconsistent. Let me read that again. How does Amos still hold his spot? We dropped Narkle and he's been the sub both times. I don't know if Amos ever will be dropped. I think sometimes he could do with a spell on the waffle. I thought he was really bad last week, and he's had a few games this season where he's just been non-competitive. But he's also had a few games where he's been crucial to our forward makeup. So, Yeah, I'm not sure what to do with Amos. I sort of change camps every week. Bit late to the stream, but we talked about the weird free key forward +1. Yeah, we have. We've talked about the possibility of maybe Voss being sub and replacing Darcy for management. I think that just removes so much versatility out of the sub role, though. We've talked about Jackson maybe playing midfield. We've talked about maybe bringing Voss into cover for Darcy just not resting forward and managing his minutes a bit. So, yeah, we've talked about it. I'm not really sure how to make up. Amos takes a key defender, if nothing else. Yeah, maybe one of our forwards just plays like a Billy Frampton sort of mitigating role. Yeah, it is Chappie's 50th game, which is exciting. Do you reckon Sharp's on the verge of being sub if he starts to underperform? I don't think he's on the verge because with Noddy not in the team, we don't have a pure wingman. I think we need at least one pure winger. Noddy might play Waffle this week, and hopefully he plays AFL next week, which will therefore allow a bit more versatility for Jez. But yeah, I'm not sure. Do we see Prime strong if Pies don't tag? Yeah, the Pies won't tag, I don't think. So hopefully we see Prime strong. This should hopefully be how it works. Purple Hands game, we usually win these. This is only like our second Purple Hands game, isn't it? But yeah, big game for the club. Thursday night. Get your, I think the club are selling purple wristbands or whatever. That'll be fun. A little light show. 60K tomorrow night. No chance. We won't know. Yeah, it's the fact that it's on a Thursday night. Thursday nights are so difficult to get to from like work or school or whatever. So yeah, it won't be 60K. I'll be there. Drews will be doing the fan cams tomorrow night. So yeah, it'll be a lot of fun. Do I honestly rate Switkowski? Yeah, I do. I thought he was amazing in the Adelaide game. I think sometimes when we lack a live wire, Swit is the only one that brings it. How many weeks off is Drews? So he was a test this week. So he should play Waffle this week, and next week should be in for the Giants game. So yeah, this should hopefully be our last game without Drews. Simpson would do it for the Short Kings. He's a short fella, isn't he? How tall Simo? I'm going to guess 171. 182. Sorry, Simo. I did not. Massively underestimated him. I heard that Collingwood had to do a week's practice of boarding a plane before their flight to Perth. Yeah. I've seen the Emirates ads with Nick Dacos and Josh Dacos. I think their partnership with Emirates will really be coming in clutch. All right, we'll probably... Oh, hold up. We've got a few more. Look at some of the highlights from last time we played the Pies. Fife, O'Meara, Walters, Youngie, all had a big involvement at the end. They're all the big outs that we've not had for most of the year. Yeah, exactly. So it's going to be the maturity of guys like Simpson, Erasmus, Reed, Dudley, even Bolton. Bolton's a big game player, but he hasn't... I mean, he had a good year, but we need him to show his maturity late in the game. So we need these guys that are either young or haven't done it yet for the Dockers to really show their maturity in what's going to be a really big and feisty game tomorrow night. Best case scenario. He's not that small. Who's most likely to be sub? Probably Erasmus, I'd say. All right, we're going to wrap it up there. Thank you to the 50 or so people who've joined us tonight for the teams. Very interesting discussion. Yeah, excited for tomorrow. The preview for the game will be out tomorrow. My preview. The Oppo view will actually be out straight after this in about 10 or so minutes. So, yeah, stick around on the channel. Keep in tune with that Instagram when the Oppo view's out. It's Drews and Swoop Luke this week. So, yeah, Oppo view will be out in the next 10 or so minutes. Stick around for that. Fan camps tomorrow night. Be hosted by Drews this week. So, yeah, final tip. Freo by 5. Why not? You'll see my final tip in the preview that comes out tomorrow. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. Oppo view out in 10 minutes. Stay tuned. See you later.